Hi there, my name is Jason Perkins. I'd like to welcome you to another episode in my Georgia Workers' Compensation video series. I'm an attorney that specializes in Georgia workers' compensation cases. I created this series of videos because I want to provide people who have been hurt at work with helpful information about Georgia's workers' compensation law and the benefits available to them under that law. Today I want to talk to you about one particular type of benefit, and that's weekly workers' compensation checks. In particular, I want to answer the question of how often do weekly workers' compensation checks get paid? Well, the answer is kind of right there in the question. I call them weekly workers' compensation checks, and that's because they're supposed to be paid weekly. I want to talk to you a little bit about a few other things first before we get into that weekly payment. One of the first questions you may have is, when are your workers' compensation checks going to start after an injury? Workers' compensation checks often start because you're out of work as a result of your injury. And in Georgia, those checks are supposed to start within 21 days of when your injury occurred. There's two confusing things here. One is, in Georgia, you'll often hear that you don't get paid for your first 7 days out of work. And that's true. That 7-day period is called a waiting period. So if you're out of work 7 days or less as a result of a work injury, you're not going to get paid benefits for being out of work. But even once you pass that 7 days, the insurance company still has 21 days from when you came out of work to start your workers' compensation checks. So you may be out of work on day 10 and wonder when you're going to get a check. And that check may not start coming to you until the 21st day after you're out of work as a result of an injury. The insurance company can start paying you sooner than that, but the law basically gives them that 21-day period to investigate your claim and decide whether they're going to pay you benefits or not. One other important fact to know: if you do miss 21 consecutive days at some point, the insurance company is going to have to pay you for those first 7 days out of work. Now let's get back to that question I was discussing earlier, which is that workers' compensation checks are paid to you weekly. So Georgia law requires this. But even though it's required under Georgia law that they pay the checks to you weekly, some insurance companies still don't do that. They may pay the check to you every 2 weeks or every 15 days. So what do you do in this situation? Well, the first is, it's important to understand that it doesn't matter how often you got paid when you were working. Some people get paid once a month, every 15 days, every 2 weeks. But regardless of how often your paycheck came when you're working, the insurance company should still be paying you weekly when you're out of work as a result of your injury. And if they're not paying you weekly, there's things that you can do to correct this. Also, if they're not paying you weekly, they may not be paying you on time. And if they're not paying you on time, they may owe you late penalties. Georgia workers' compensation law provides a 15% late penalty when a check is not issued on time. So a lot of times when my clients have contacted me in the past and they've been getting checks not every week, but maybe every 2 weeks, I've been able to explain to them that they're not getting paid correctly. I've also been able to go back and get them paid late penalties when those checks weren't paid on time. So this can be an important issue for you to look into. Hope you found this information about how often workers' compensation checks are paid helpful. If you have, please let me know that. One of the best ways you can do that is by liking this video or giving it a thumbs up. And if you've got more questions about workers' compensation law, I'd encourage you to reach out to me for a free consultation about your case. There's 2 easy ways that you can set that consultation up. The first is by calling the phone number on the bottom of the screen, and the other is by visiting our website, which is www.perkinsstuddard.com, and clicking and submitting the free consultation request form. Someone from our workers' compensation team will be happy to speak with you and get a consultation with me scheduled. I'd like to thank you again for watching this video today. I want to wish you the best of luck as you recover from your injury.